vous remercie d'accueillir Tommie Smith.
To meet you. Please, take care of the bottle. You have the bottle of water here.
Attends, ça c'est le tien. Merci de cet accueil à la juste mesure de ce grand homme que nous avons ici. J'avoue que je suis très émue.
C'est une émotion qui est partagée. We are very, very proud, and it's a lot of emotion to have this talk with you today.
I am very pleased, happy to be here today, and I see all young folks. Nobody here is as old as I. That's okay. It's okay.
We will have a translation.
Tommie est évidemment très heureux d'être là aujourd'hui. Il est heureux de rencontrer beaucoup de jeunes personnes et personne n'a l'air d'être aussi âgé que lui-même dans l'audience.
Okay, so it's a pleasure and an honor to welcome you here in Paris for this conference and the exhibition Olympism, History of the World. You appear in one of the most famous photographs in the history of Olympic Games. We will see it here.
Yes, this one, just behind you, but you know,
I think
you know it very well. This photograph of the 200 meters podium at the 1968 Mexico Games, where you won the gold medal by breaking a world record, is today considered as a symbol of the politicization of sport, and is listed also by Life magazine among the 100 photographs which changed the history of the world.
And on this podium, with your compatriot John Carlos, third in the race, you raise your black gloved fist to protest against discrimination in the United States, but also in all over the world. And that is why we would like to ask you a few questions about this gesture.
So,
Il comprend l'anglais.
have a comfortable seat, Mr. Smith. So, Mr. Smith, yeah, you're right. It's better like this.
Yeah,
Great,
good.
great. We hope we enjoy this moment with us. So, Mr. Smith, you were born in 1944 in Clarksville, Texas, which, like the other southern states of the United States, applied racial segregation even after the abolition of slavery. In this context, before the Mexico Games in 1968, had you ever participated in demonstration in favor of civil rights? Did you have, for example, any contact with the Black Panthers Party before the Olympic Games?
I was born.
Translation. Donc je demande effectivement. Donc je rappelle que Tommie Smith est né au Texas, un État donc du sud des États-Unis où était appliquée la ségrégation raciale, y compris après l'abolition de l'esclavage. Et je lui demande si, avant les Jeux de Mexico, il avait déjà participé effectivement à des manifestations ou s'il était en lien avec des organisations telles que les Black Panthers qui luttaient en faveur des droits civils. Please.
I have never participated personally or politically with the Black Panthers.
Je n'ai jamais participé politiquement ou personnellement au mouvement des Black Panthers.
Although my actions within the realm of life could indicate that I belong to the Black Panthers because I fought for the right to be human and not a segregated part of society.
Donc même si les différentes actions et mon comportement auraient pu laisser penser que je faisais partie du mouvement des Black Panthers, dans le sens que, évidemment, mes engagements allaient contre toutes les discriminations dans le monde.
I forgot the question. I mean, some of the question.
Did you take part into...
Well, yes. Well,
Yeah,
what about your commitment in the fight for the civil right?
As an athlete, I was an athlete. I've been an athlete all my life, especially in competition when I attended college. I went to college for an education to get out of the cotton fields and the plantations that I worked on as a child.
Donc, j'ai été un athlète toute ma vie, mais je suis aussi allé au collège. J'ai aussi étudié, donc le collège, c'est le niveau post-bac aux États-Unis, donc l'université, afin de sortir de la condition des communautés d'où j'étais issu et qui étaient dominées dans ces régions par la culture des plantations de coton, où j'ai donc grandi comme enfant.
Therefore, my time at San Jose State University, majored in sociology, my vision was to help society in realizing that the human attitude of people is more important than taking one side of thought. I wanted my students to understand that there are many thoughts.
Aussi, en tant qu'étudiant en maîtrise de sociologie et plus tard en tant qu'enseignant, mon objectif était de faire comprendre à mes étudiants qu'il y a plusieurs manières de voir les choses plutôt qu'une seule.
Sandrine?
Yes, so when did the idea come to you to demonstrate on the podium with your fist raised and unshod? I think it's important. And what other symbols did you choose to mark your fight?
The symbol that you see behind me represents the thought process of Tommie Smith.
Donc le mouvement, le geste que vous voyez derrière moi est le résultat d'un processus de pensée, d'une réflexion de Tommie Smith.
It was a visionary thought that I believed everyone could understand because everyone is someone. But everyone's thought is not someone's. It is your particular thought. Therefore, the raised fist above my head represented you as an individual, to represent yourself in a world of individuality. Therefore, bringing yourself together to produce thought, not to immigrate someone else's thought. That's called gossip. Tommie Smith does not gossip. This is one of the ways that I thought within my power as an athlete.
Donc, on peut tous évidemment suivre les pensées d'autres personnes, mais ce geste est typiquement le résultat de la réflexion de Tommie Smith, de ma réflexion, afin de prouver qu'évidemment on peut tous se prêter aux pensées des autres, mais que l'on peut tous aussi affirmer notre propre pensée à travers ce geste, et c'est ça la réelle portée universelle de ce geste. C'est de s'affirmer à travers un geste individuel, et c'est à travers ça que tout le monde va pouvoir s'identifier.
I didn't waste time on figuring a way to say anything on the victory stand. You notice there was not a word mentioned. There was not words mentioned when I was a competitor, although I was never asked anything while I was competing, because no one, including the press, thought that athletics or you who dealt in athletics were smart enough to think. They're wrong.
Donc, comme vous le voyez, il n'y a pas eu de commentaires, il n'y a pas eu d'action verbale. Ça a été simplement un geste, parce que la presse pensait que les athlètes ne valaient pas la peine vraiment d'être interrogés et d'être entendus sur ce qu'ils pensaient. Et ils se trompent.
So when did this idea to come to you to demonstrate? I guess it was a long time before going to Mexico or not?
Est-ce que ce geste, hein, effectivement...
Alors,
oui, donc l'idée c'était de revenir sur le geste. Hein. Est-ce que, à quel moment Tommie Smith, qui explique que c'est son idée, a eu l'idée de faire ce geste silencieux et je lui posais la question de est-ce que c'était avant de venir à Mexico?
The symbol that you see was, to me, like that symbol is to you, most of you, or should I say some of you, who've never seen that statue before. I went to Mexico City to win the race, not to necessarily make a statement, but I was asked, what are you going to do to heighten the world in the thought process of being together? Meaning, racisms need to be fought. Question on my mind days before. But that particular victory indicated that the world need to come together, erasing racism and producing social thought.
Donc je suis allé d'abord à Mexico avec l'idée de gagner, de remporter la victoire sur cette course du 200 mètres. Lorsque l'on m'a demandé qu'est-ce que j'allais faire pour élever justement la pensée, utiliser cette occasion pour justement produire un acte qui pouvait aider à élever la pensée collective dans le sens d'un geste contre le racisme, c'est à ce moment-là que le point levé, l'idée du point levé est venue afin de manifester mon support contre le racisme.
And did you discuss this gesture with John Carlos? Est-ce que vous avez discuté de ce geste avec John Carlos?
It was talked about between me and John Carlos only moments before the race. It wasn't something decided months before. Only that we had to win the race to make a statement. What statement? Really didn't know. Although maybe the gloves will come up. I don't know if you're going to ask a question about the gloves, but that would be a good question. Okay.
Maybe the translation first, and after we will talk about the gloves.
Maybe, yeah.
Sure.
So I'll let it there, and she can ask further. Otherwise, I'll ramble.
Le geste n'avait pas été pensé longtemps à l'avance. Le premier objectif avec John, c'était de gagner la course. Seulement ensuite, on a pensé, on a discuté, mais vraiment très peu de temps avant la montée sur le podium, de lever le poing. Mais vous devriez me poser aussi la question du gant noir. When the medals were awarded, how long after the race? 1 day, 2 days after the race?
Oh, no. Moments, minutes.
Just a few minutes.
Just after the race?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
it wouldn't have, yeah, people would have forgotten by then.
Donc voilà.
Homo sapiens, we're smart, but we're not that smart.
Donc ça a eu lieu juste après. L'Homo sapiens est très intelligent, mais il oublie vite. Les gens auraient oublié s'il a...
Soon as the race was finished, the officials took us downstairs. I call it the dungeon, where we were positioned to come back outside, across the stadium, and accept our awards.
Donc tout de suite après la course, les officiels nous ont amenés dans ce que j'appelle le donjon pour nous préparer à retraverser le stade pour la décoration.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the gloves.
Yeah. So, why do you each have a different black gloved fist?
My fist, as you can see, was on the right hand.
Yes.
John Carlos's fist is his left hand.
Comme vous pouvez le voir, mon poing ganté est sur ma main droite et celui sur la main de John est sur son poing gauche.
The gloves belong to me.
Les gants m'appartenaient.
John said he forgot his gloves.
John dit qu'il avait oublié ses gants.
That's it.
C'est tout.
This is
Voilà.
very powerful single moment.
C'est
You see, people make stories up about that victory stand. I tell the truth because it was our idea together, only a few moments together, the thought process. I asked my wife, thank you, wife, some time ago before the contest, bring me a pair of gloves. I didn't know what I was going to do with the gloves, but I did know that they could be useful in what I needed to say.
Donc j'avais demandé à mon épouse, mon ex-épouse plus précisément, d'amener 2 paires de gants avant la course. Je ne savais pas encore comment je l'utiliserais pour le geste que je pourrais faire, mais je lui avais demandé d'apporter donc 2 paires de gants.
There is a third person in this picture. I'm sorry.
Carry on, Tommie. No, you wanted to...
I'm done. That's good.
Ah, pardon.
Yeah? Okay. So let's talk about the third person on this podium, the Australian Peter Norman. Peter Norman also wears a badge supporting, we can see it, yes, on this picture, a badge supporting the Olympic Project for Human Rights. We wondered if you gave it to him, could you tell us how it happened?
This is one of the most extraordinary stories of the whole contest. How did this white guy get a button developed by the Olympic Project for Human Rights Committee to wear that button? Peter Norman was one of the greatest persons that I've ever met. Why did Tommie Smith say that? Because I talked to him before the race and, of course, after the race. And what he said to me was, there's a word I'm looking for. He acknowledged the fact that he agreed with human rights. Peter Norman didn't back Tommie Smith and John Carlos. Let me repeat that. Peter Norman did not back us. He was a part of the belief in human rights. Folks, this wasn't a black move. It was black athletes making that move, but it was a human move. The Olympic Project for Human Rights, not the Project for Black Panthers' Right, or Mexican liberation, or Indian sacrifices. This was human, which was all. When I raised that fist and bowed my head, it was a prayer that I prayed that all nations know. That is the Lord's Prayer. This is a serious moment on that victory stand, folks. done by a 23-year-old athlete.
Donc, on a beaucoup écrit sur justement comment est-ce que ce badge a atterri sur la poitrine de Peter Norman, et on a souvent dit que c'était un geste en soutien à la lutte contre la discrimination des Noirs aux États-Unis. Et ce n'est pas le cas. En fait, ce n'était pas un mouvement, ce n'était pas un geste en soutien. Peter Norman faisait partie intégrante de ce moment de protestation contre toutes les discriminations, pas seulement le mouvement des Black Panthers ou de la libération du Mexique, ou de protestation contre les discriminations contre les Indiens d'Amérique, par exemple. C'était un mouvement d'humanisme contre absolument toutes les discriminations, et c'était ma prière pour la paix entre les nations et la fin de ces discriminations.
And we remember that other athletes during these games defended the cause of African American population in the United States and supported you, including white people, white athletes like Dick Fosbury, the famous Fosbury. Were you aware about that? Was the action connected with your demonstration? We can see Peter Fosbury. Donc je demande à Tommie Smith, je rappelle qu'il y a d'autres athlètes qui ont effectivement manifesté pendant ces Jeux olympiques, et y compris des athlètes blancs, au-delà de Peter Norman, et on voit ici le fameux Fosbury, donc chacun connaît pour s'être essayé un jour ou l'autre au saut en hauteur avec sa technique, et je demande à Monsieur Smith si il était au courant de toutes ces actions et si ces actions étaient concertées.
This stand was produced or performed by black athletes. But not only did black athletes or black people agree with the meaning of this stand, but also white people and people of different colors, because it represents freedom, the fight for freedom against racist attitudes. Let me go a little deeper in history.
Donc c'était un mouvement que beaucoup de Noirs avaient performé, mais pas seulement. Il y a eu aussi des Blancs et des gens d'autres couleurs qui ont aussi adopté ce mouvement de protestation qui en fait traduit une attitude.
It went deeper in history than just the view of that victory stand. Your thought right now is involved in that stand. That stand is a perpetual stand, meaning forever. As long as there are human beings, fight for the right of each other.
Laissez-moi aller un peu plus loin dans l'histoire. Donc, il y a une dimension historique à ce geste à laquelle vous vous connectez en le voyant, et qui montre qu'il y a une dimension éternelle qui est liée à cette attitude de protestation contre les discriminations et pour l'égalité.
And your action earns you a lifetime ban from competition. Did you expect such severity? And were you aware of violating the Olympic Charter? Donc je pose la question à Tommie Smith sur le fait que ce geste les a bannis de toute compétition pour toute leur vie. Et est-ce qu'ils s'attendaient à une telle sévérité? Est-ce qu'ils avaient conscience d'enfreindre la charte olympique?
You know, the people, or the man who refused to understand what that meant, the president of the IOC, the order came from his mouth to ban us from any further competition. But what he didn't know and what the world didn't know, that I had an education to teach school at 21 years old. And I was going toward that direction. All he did was help me to make a quick decision. My intentions were to run track and teach school at the same time, like the athletes do now. A lot of the athletes don't go to school. They just train to compete. I had to train to compete and go to college to get my teaching credential. So I had a double life.
Donc, lorsque le bannissement est venu du président du CIO, qui ne connaissait pas en fait mes activités éducatives d'enseignant, puisque alors que beaucoup d'athlètes passent essentiellement leur temps à s'entraîner sur les pistes, moi je passais mon temps à m'entraîner sur les pistes et à étudier la sociologie afin d'acquérir les diplômes d'enseignant. Et donc j'ai cette attitude et cette approche éducative. Et ça, le président du CIO ne le savait pas.
This sanction was heavy, very harsh. And did this sanction have an impact on your social and professional life afterwards? Je demande si ces sanctions très lourdes, très sévères, ont eu des conséquences sur sa vie sociale et professionnelle.
I did not expect that from the IOC. I thought I was doing the entire world a favor of sacrificing. I didn't know what would come after. That's why I used the word sacrifice.
Donc je ne m'attendais pas à une réaction aussi sévère de ce geste qui est devenu du fait de coup un sacrifice, mais je ne m'attendais pas, je n'avais aucune idée de la réaction et du bannissement qui allait suivre ce geste. And then Tommie, what was the impact on your social life and on your career thereafter?
After I returned home, it was a surprise to most people that I returned home early, and they wanted to know why, because it was hot news that John Carlos and Tommie Smith was kicked out of Mexico City by an American government, which was the IOC. Big surprise, big surprise. But I didn't tolerate in my mind the idea of fighting that, because I knew I would have lost that battle. I didn't want to lose something because I just had gained a God-given blessing, which was the Olympic medal that I have used all those years. I didn't bring it to my children in the classroom, but I used that thought to prepare them for the future. Future of love, not future of temptations, not future of hate. All of my young, especially my young students.
Donc c'était effectivement une nouvelle très importante. Les gens ne s'attendaient pas à ce que je rentre aussi rapidement aux États-Unis après la course. Et effectivement, je ne pouvais pas me battre contre le CIO et le gouvernement des États-Unis. C'était voilà une bataille disproportionnée, et j'ai ramené cette médaille d'or sur un point de vue mental comme un message à transmettre à mes enfants et à la jeunesse sur ce combat à mener et qui se poursuit.
So, last questions, unfortunately. Did you continue to campaign for racial equality afterwards?
Est-ce que vous avez continué justement à vous engager en faveur de l'égalité raciale? I translate the question, Sandrine.
Even until this day, I do.
Et je continue jusqu'à ce jour. Oui. Alors,